Okay, kids, it's time for another episode of the Fueled by Weird podcast, the only podcast that's hero today and gone tomorrow. I'm Chris Daly, and tonight I'd like to welcome Justin Cristelli to the show. Justin, what's going on, sir?
The usual, doing my Kickstarter and writing stuff. The same old, same day. How
Same
are
old,
you?
same old. I'm doing pretty good. Like I mentioned, I had a little bit of crazy evening tonight. Got off work way later than I was supposed to. Had a bunch of errands to run, and I was hoping to make it in time, and I think I made it just under the buzzer. So I'm very glad we could make it happen.
Perfect. I actually was finishing dinner and watching a Candyman retrospective a
Nice.
few minutes before 8. And then I realized I hadn't figured out how to properly connect with the Zoom link you sent me. So
Okay.
I struggled with that for a scary 10 minutes. So,
It can be a little tricky.
yeah. And I am kind of dumb with some of that stuff. Like
It's all
passwords
right.
are my kryptonite.
That's all right. I've been an IT guy since 2009, so just let me know. I got you.
Yep.
Very cool. All right, sir. Well, thank you again for doing this. I'm so excited. Like I kind of mentioned a little bit before, also, when I first got introduced to indie comics, even being a thing, I had no idea it was even a thing. Back in pandemic era, Red the Red Knight was one of the very first comics I was introduced to. So this is kind of a big deal for me. I'm very, very excited to finally get to talk to you. It's very exciting.
Thank you. And
Absolutely.
likewise, I've been a big fan of your work, and I've been very, very grateful for uh, the shout outs and support you've given me and Manos Publishing since almost since I relaunched the Red Knight in 2019. So
Thanks.
it's great finally getting a chance to do an interview with you.
Yeah, I appreciate it. And yeah, I'm very, very excited we can make it happen. We'll definitely have to make sure this isn't the only time.
Correct.
Absolutely. All right. So I usually like to start these things off with an icebreaker question. So tonight's question, which one of your teachers is the most memorable and why? Now, this could be like a school teacher, any grade school. It could be, it's any other kind of, doesn't have to be like a standard school teacher. It could be any other kind of teacher.
I had quite a few make an impression on me in elementary and
Sure.
high school. I I I think um oh boy, that was probably I really like this one teacher, Miss Harrington, who got me registered to vote. Actually, she was my
Wow.
government
Okay.
teacher in high school,
Nice.
and very cool woman, and got me to think. Um, and I had turned 18 in the last few months of my senior year,
Sure.
and I was sitting in her class, and she was like, "Is anybody here 18?" And like, I just turned 18, so I'm a week earlier, so I'm excited about it.
Yeah.
So I like me, I did it. And she was like,
Sure.
"Okay, here's a pass. Go to the office and register to vote." And I was like, "Okay, I was going to do that anyway. That I didn't know how. So cool. I mean, it basically fell into my lap, and I've registered ever since.
Nice.
Been very grateful for that. I've had a bunch of great other teachers, uh, but that one was my particular favorite. She also had this. She also had this extra credit like assignment throughout the year. Like if you wanted a few extra points, you could write a political cartoon.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Uh, so every so often, I would beef up my grade by coming up with a political cartoon, and
Nice.
I I'm a terrible artist.
Okay.
uh, although I didn't quite know that yet in high school. So I was doing little political cartoons here and there and there. And I don't know, she seemed to like them. She actually, I mean, she didn't just simply give me like, the points for, making like a political point or a cartoon, but she would also like sometimes LOL wasn't a thing when I was a teenager, but she would like,
Right.
laugh half. I mean, she would occasionally, write haha on it, like,
Sure.
oops, she would like one. So yeah, I've had some really good ones, but that one stands out for me.
Awesome. I think for me, like you, I had a lot of teachers that were very influential, very, very memorable. But the one I would name in particular is Mr. Robert Morris, someone I'm
Yeah.
still friends with on social media today. He was such a great guy. He was my teacher in junior high, but he taught all sorts of different grades. He always went above and beyond for the kids. Like there was a while where he actually would illustrate his own cartoons to help, teach the lessons in history because it was he was a history teacher and he would illustrate, whole cartoons and comics that would uh, help, kids retain the lesson better. And he actually had them published for a little while, which was really cool.
Oh
They're not,
wow.
I don't think they're in circulation anymore, but he'd draw these comics, he'd always go out of his way to, help the kids out and, with extra credit or like you said, with your teacher, and he'd, just help if you were struggling with stuff. I know he was one of the teachers that kind of helped really help kids embrace their weird. And he ran a club called the Comic Card and Collector Club back in the late 90s. Not a lot of people were in that group, but it was a pretty hardcore group. We could bring our trading cards, we could bring our comic books and just kind of sit and talk about them in class with other or after school with other kids. And it was really cool how you could actually, just go and be yourself with this guy. And he really encouraged that. And he's very supportive. He's a great guy. He writes a lot too. I know it's really fun to follow him during the summer because sometimes during summer vacation he'll spend the summer writing a book. And a lot of it's historical stuff because he'll interview, people who fought in the wars and he'll write stories about their life. He wrote a story about a football player that played for the Bears. I think is the Bears. Don't kill me if it's not Mr. Morris. I apologize. I can't remember. I'm not a big sports guy other than pro wrestling, so I don't really know. But no, and he's a great guy, super supportive guy, and I'm glad that we could still be friends even as adults. So shout out to you, Mr. Morris. You're a great guy.
That's really nice. That's one of the things that really, when I think back with my relationships with my teachers in elementary and high school, I, I am grateful for some of the things they helped shape. There's a couple that really got me to think,
Yeah,
uh, and a world history teacher that got me to like think in between the lines. He would sometimes talk about stories in between the stories that he was teaching.
yeah,
Like he would talk about like the assassination of Archduke Ferdinand,
mhm,
and how that kept going, wild and crazy. And he would talk about like little in between things about like what people like the Spartans and how like awful they were to their own people.
yep.
Like, he was actually I learned more about Sparta from him than I did from 300. And
Love that.
I got this. Oh, I guess one more. I guess one more thing. Miss Reynolds, who was my fifth grade teacher, um, in first grade, they had this thing at my school where all the kids would write to Santa and during Christmas time, and all their letters would get answered by an elf. And as a first grader, I still believed in that, and
Sure.
this was proof. I got a letter answering my questions,
Yeah.
and it was like an elf with a number and all that. Um, and then I don't know, I'll be honest, I don't know when. I don't have that story of like when I stopped believing in Santa.
Sure.
It's just,
Yeah, yeah.
naturally evolved. But when I got to fifth grade, uh, I walked into like Miss Reynolds' class, and about around Christmas time, she was like, "Okay, hey, pull in close. I got a secret to tell you. We have an assignment this Christmas, and the assignment is we answer the Christmas letters from the first grade kids as elves.
That's fantastic.
And this is a complete secret. You do not tell the first grader, do not tell anybody. But
Yeah.
this is a tradition we've been doing while she was, working there. Oh, and so I got to answer a first grader's questions about Santa. I wish I kept the letter I sent and got back, but I do not remember the questions I got. Oh, but I did answer them, and it was one of the first times. I mean, I was fifth grade, but it was one of the first times I started to kind of feel a sense of growing up, and
Yeah.
I'm I respect that of Miss Reynolds and what she did.
for sure. Yeah, on that same kind of note, my friend who I talked to a couple weeks ago, Jeff Cox, he's an artist that's going to be here this weekend.
Oh wow,
He by day he's a postman, and I think I remember him saying that during Christmas time when he picks up letters from kids that are writing to Santa, he'll take the time to write back and he'll deliver them a letter back from Santa, and I think that's kind of a cool thing to do.
that's
And
amazing.
it's speaking to your learning more about the Spartans from your teacher than from 300. My teacher that I mentioned, a lot of the comics he did were Romans and Spartans and some of it during ancient Egypt time. But that was also I was the same way. I learned a lot more about the Greeks and Romans and stuff like that from his comics, and they were a good time. So yeah, very very cool, very cool.
Oh man, it was kind of nice talking about that.
Yeah, for sure.
Uh,
Nice wander down memory lane a little bit. All right. So next thing I want to talk about before we kind of roll into business is when you're not busy working, when you're not busy working on the comic, what are some of the hobbies and interests you're into that kind of come together to fuel your weird?
oh well, thank you for asking. I'm
Absolutely.
kind of a big movie dork.
Yeah,
I go to the movies when I can.
sure.
Uh, let's see. There's a wonderful movie theater not too far from where I live called the Narrow Cinema, and it is like one of those old one-screen movie house art house
Oh wow,
places.
that's cool.
And I love going there. It's like, oh God, I forgot. It was built in the 30s,
Wow.
built in the 30s, 40s, something like that. It's close to 90 years old, and it's a wonderful place. They show everything. They
Nice.
show new movies, they show foreign films, they show old movies. Uh, God, they show whatever. They do festivals and like, what is it? They were about to. They just recently. Oh God, I forgot. They just showed like a they just showed a couple classic 80s movies just recently, but they do it all the time. Big fan of that. Um, let's see, outside of like comics and writing and reading, let's see, I don't know. Uh, I kind of stick to like a few short things. Used to be a sports kid. I used to be a big football kid.
Sure.
And I used to be a big car kid. I used to love cars and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Those eventually faded in time, but it's comics that kind of stuck around, oddly enough.
Sure.
Um, and I do like to, I don't know, I do like to, I like to explore and learn a little bit about Norfolk history, the town I live in. The older I get, the more interested I get in learning about my own like home city, stuff like that. Uh, and I've been incorporating that in my work. So it's kind of been a reflection of my own interests. And actually, a lot of my own interests kind of find their way into the comic and the characters.
Nice. I mean, they say, write what you know. So, I mean, of course you're going to end up writing some of that stuff in your writing and some it'll manifest somehow.
Yes.
Yeah. Very cool. Very, very cool. So now I kind of want to take another stroll back down memory lane because we were already kind of that way anyway. I want to know, let's take a trip in the Wayback Machine, and I want to find out what it was that originally inspired you to become a writer in the first place.
I almost brought this up in our conversation about teachers, but uh, that possibly started with one of my teachers, my drama teacher, Beverly Farrington, gave she would give like writing courses in drama class, and we would do like short plays, and there was a play assignment, and I really liked it, and I wrote something really terrible, but uh, I enjoyed it immensely, so I thought it was hilarious. She was doing this kind of like night of skits, uh, like once a year with the drama club, and I asked if it would be cool if I could write a play for it. She was like, "Yeah, whatever. As long as you fill time, we have 2 hours." So I did like I wrote. It was a short one act play, but it was basically a sitcom. I wrote a sitcom, a
Sure.
20-minute play.
Okay.
Um, and that went over shockingly well. And I
Nice.
completely thought it was going to like fall apart. And No, it had a nice rhythm to it. The actors were into it. The audience was mostly into it. So I started thinking about writing more, and I had bigger and bigger ideas that because I originally was like, oh, maybe I'll be a playwright. And then it's like, I like doing these big things in multiple sets, and like, I guess that would probably work today on Broadway. But nowadays, I'm like, I can't. So I really was a comic fan, and I was at the time doing fan. I was doing my own fan fiction comics for Spider-Man,
Sure.
and I came up with this cool idea. Well, at least I thought it was cool when I was 18, 19. Um, where I thought, what if Spider-Man met a younger hero who idolized him? And when they meet, it's awkward. Like, the young hero isn't as impressed with Spider-Man as he thought he would be when he met him.
Yeah.
And that character became Todd McClane, the Red Knight.
Nice.
And I'm writing it, and I was like, I really dig this character I'm putting together, and I like had a kind of decent origin. Um, by the way, the origin in Red Knight, the comic, is exactly the origin he had in the fan comic I wrote when I was like 19. I've barely changed a detail on that.
Oh, wow.
I did add his friends, uh, but I don't. It's almost the same exact thing. Um, and that's kind of what started me on the ball, kind of rolling down writing, and that's I don't know. I was officially kind of like on board with creating it in 1990, so that's when I kind of started it with no idea how to do this. By the way, there was of course no internet. There was no books about creating comics. I think the only thing really was how to draw the Marvel way from Stan Lee and John Buscema, and that didn't
Yeah.
really tell me how to write.
Right.
Um, I did. I watched the video of that, by the way. I rented it
That's cool.
from a store, and it did give me it did give me some ideas in how Stanley would think, as far as how he would set up a scene and how John Buscema, I think, was the co-author on that, how he would set up a scene.
Hmm.
That helped a little bit.
Sure.
Um, but most of that was kind of on my own for a couple of years until I kind of like, I don't know, figured it out. Uh, but yeah, that's kind of how I ended up in, oh geez, like God, I started publishing Red Knight in officially 2011 with the small band of publishers called Primal Paper Comics. And a few years later, we did kind of break up, a lot like a rock band, really. And that took me a couple of years after a couple of false starts. And that's when I got into 2019 and forming Manos Publishing. Because after a while, I was like, you know what? I've tried to play in someone's ballpark, and it ain't working, and it's time to like kind of like build my own brand, and
Sure.
that's how I got to here.
Very cool. So, that kind of brought up my next thing is, with your publishing company, Manos Publishing, how did you come up with the idea to, I mean, we already kind of talked about how you were with another group and now you decided to kind of branch out on your own. So, how did you come up with the idea for Manos Publishing?
It was always kind of on my mind. Matter of fact, even when I was with Primal, the whole idea was we were this banner called Primal Paper Comics, and we were each our own little like studio. It was a little bit like I used to jokingly call us like we were like the Image Comics founders, but with no money.
Okay.
And let's see, we were a little bit like that, a little less organized.
Sure.
And we each had our own little like brand studio. And I quickly realized I probably should do that for me. And I decided to brand it Manos because I already have this YouTube channel called The Real Manos, and I figured that was like an easy step.
Yeah,
Uh,
sure.
and yeah, after we fell apart, I did go with one of my other Primal creators, Jeff Hewitt, who was starting his own uh, comic publisher, and I was like, well, okay, I'll jump on his, and that unfortunately didn't go as far as we wanted, and that's when I briefly talked to short fuse meeting, which was a really cool upstart. And
It was, I
I
remember.
yeah, I really liked them, and I was very
Yeah.
excited about that. But unfortunately, uh, fizzled out in about a year and a half. We just couldn't. They actually, I think they overgrew to the point where they had to just drop titles, and I was one of the ones because I hadn't been published yet.
Yeah.
So after that, I was like, you know what? I'm done. I am like I'm taking the reins of what I'm doing, and because part of it is I like being a player. I like being part of a group.
Yeah.
It's fun. Um, I'm always leery about the business side and the leadership side of it.
Sure.
Uh, so I'd rather be part of a team. But after a while, I was like, I am not going to get this done the way I need to if I just keep doing it this way.
Yeah.
So that's what started with Manos Publishing, and occasionally, oh, I gotta write back. Oh, I did write back. Somebody recently just messaged me about a week or two ago, asking if he can get a book with us. It's like it's just me. Sorry.
Mhm.
Oh, uh, I'm not big enough to be more than me. So
Yeah. No, that's cool though. I didn't what like I said, I kind of got into indie comics, just learning that they were even a thing back early pandemic days, 2020, 2021. And
yeah,
so I kind of those are guys were, one of the groups I heard about in addition to you. I didn't know that you were at one time part of them, so that's kind of cool. And yeah, there's a lot of super talented creators that came out of there. Danny Quick, Morgan,
yeah,
shout out to those guys. Those guys are super awesome dudes. I think
amazing.
I think out of all those guys, Morgan's the only one I haven't got on this podcast yet. So I need to work on that. Morgan, if you're listening, we need to talk, man. Everyone else has been here at least once. We got to get you on here.
there is some big there's some big influences for me
Yeah.
getting into integrated. The first thing was like Mike Federale, who has gone on to like pioneer Tidewater Comic Con.
Mhm.
um, he was doing comics locally in the area,
That's
and I
cool.
was really inspired by what he was doing, and he was doing it wasn't breaking the bank, and it wasn't like it was so much easier than what I thought it was. And he was very helpful on that. And then I very quickly started discovering Catherine Calamia, who was originally with Short Fuse. Now she has her own line called Lifeline,
Yeah.
and she was very important as far as like helping me discover the importance of Kickstarter and how essentially like crowdfunding, Kickstarter, so on and so forth are basically pre-ordered your book, and you can forget about like you don't have to worry about things like Diamond or any other greedy distributor or anything like that. You can
Yeah.
bring your books to the fans, and that was very important. Then you mentioned
Sure.
Danny Quick. Danny Quick is so good.
So
I
good.
I love Ace Blade. I love how he promotes the book. I think he's very good.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm just these people really inspire me, and that's one of the things. You know, I tell people like it's good to have your inspirations growing up, but don't stop looking for inspiration. Like
Sure.
there are plenty of people who are coming up after you who also have some good ideas
Sure.
and may trigger something new.
Absolutely.
And that's kind of what I've just decided to not stop learning.
It's always good. There's always something new to learn. There's
Hmm.
no way you can ever learn everything. All right. Well, I also want to take a quick minute to talk about, we've talked a lot about comics. What was it that got you interested in comics in the first place?
Let's see. My dad, which is hilarious because he always thought my comic fandom was stupid, but he's kind of the reason I got into it.
Yeah.
Because as a little kid, I was obsessed with like cartoon superheroes and TV
Sure.
superheroes. Uh, so I don't know. I guess he never told me why, but just coming home from work, I guess he stopped at a 7-Eleven, which is an old comic book store place. You used to be able to buy comics at 7-Eleven all the time. I guess he just saw one and just pulled it out, and it was a copy of Spidey Super Stories, the Spider-Man series that Marvel used to do for kids.
Sure.
And it was right, I was like 5, 6 or something like that. So it was like, simpler text, simpler, stories, so a kid could understand. And I was in. I was so I loved it so much.
Nice.
And I quickly grabbed like I got a Batman Detective Comics and another Spider-Man, and oh, man, I can't remember who was third on my list. Like maybe Captain America or Superman, probably Superman, Superman, Wonder Woman, the ones I saw on TV,
Sure.
Hulk, and then I would kind of like start like, who is this guy? Who is this guy? Yeah, Marvel and DC do this dirty trick of like sucking you in on some specific character and then introducing you to like, oh
Yep.
hey, who is this Falcon guy?
Yep.
Who is this Daredevil fellow? Yeah, it's dirty. Like,
For
how
sure.
dare you?
For sure.
Oh, so that's kind of how yeah, my dad, I was just playing, I was coloring, I think, or something like that, playing with cars or something on the floor. And he just like didn't even say anything. He just flopped a book in front of me and just moved on,
Oh wow.
not realizing how much damage he did. He just dropped a grenade and walked
Thanks,
away.
Dad. It's all your fault, Dad.
That's right. I did dedicate early Red Knight issue to him, so like it meant a lot.
That's cool. Very, very cool. All right. So now, without any further ado, I do want to talk about the Red Knight now. Again, I've
Yeah,
mentioned this is one of my favorite indie books. I really look forward to it every time. I think it's also very cool that you've been bringing back stuff like the letter to the editor, which I think is cool. It's such a really cool idea.
thank
And
you.
another thing, this is the prop I was leaving till later in the show. I'm such a fan that I have
Yeah.
I have one of the Red Knight Migos. When you popped this
Yay.
up, I was like, holy shit, I need to have one of those because that is so cool.
Yeah,
So I that's one of my favorite nerd pieces in my collection is my Red Knight Migo. So that's very, very cool. So if
that is so awesome to see.
people listening, if you get the chance, you should get one because it's very well made. It's super awesome. So you should definitely grab one if you get a chance.
Let's
Um,
see. Yeah, funny story. That came out of just a social media post. I think
really?
I left it on the Red Knight post, the Red Knight Facebook, where I don't know, I saw this really really fun story about old 70s Marvel DC Mego figures.
Yeah.
And I shared it on the Facebook one for Red Knight instead of my own. And just, said like, man, if because I get asked like all the time about action figures and merch and stuff like that. It was like, man, if I could do that, I would be so happy. Like, and I grew up with those figures. And one of my followers, a guy named let's see, Tyler Bingham, he was like, "Hey man, I actually customize uh Mego figures. Would you
That's
like one?"
cool.
And I was like, "Sure." And he sent me like commission for it. And I was like, "Okay, that's fair. I'll pay for that." Um, and then when it came in, I was blown away by it. Like, oh wow,
Yeah.
this is the thing I've always I love it. Like I was
Yeah.
so blown away by it. That's when I started doing it as because I messaged him and said, I am absolutely in love with it. Thank you. Would you be interested in doing it? So for occasionally for like Kickstarter rewards, and he was kind enough to do it. Uh, he's a really terrific guy, and I don't have any current for this Kickstarter. Uh, I need to talk to him about maybe doing some in the future. That stuff he has to like make by hand.
Yeah.
So let's see. To get more in the future, I have to talk to him about it. But
Okay.
yeah, I love those.
Yeah, they're very, very well made. So it's kudos to him. He fantastic job.
I would love to do, since I'm an old 70s kid with Marvel
Of
and
course.
DC, I've been thinking about like I'd love to make merch a little bit more in tune with the stuff that I had as a kid. So I'm like I've been trying to think of stuff. Like I've been thinking about, I don't know if you've ever saw those, uh, 7-Eleven used to have these Slurpee cups, the small plastic ones. They're actually not that big. much bigger than this,
Sure.
which would have like Marvel and DC heroes on. It would have in the summer. It would also have like baseball and players and stuff like that. But like
Yeah.
it would have like all the. I would learn about Marvel characters on that because
Yeah.
I didn't read all of them. And then it'd be like Red Sonja. It's like who the hell is Red Sonja? Oh, and I've been thinking about like maybe it'd be cool to do one for Red Knight. Like I have to find a printer who can do plastic cups and images like that. But that stuff isn't as hard to do anymore. Like there's so many independent printers out there.
Yeah.
They are a boon to people like me.
Yeah. And it's not a 70s thing, but I know Pogs are starting to make a big comeback with indie comics.
I've been thinking about Pogs. Actually, my
Oh, that'd be
wife
cool.
is like an '80s kid, and like a when that was a big thing, like in the '90s, she just got hooked on him.
Yep, me
Oh,
too. Me too.
and I've been thinking about it. Like it's on my short list.
Nice.
Let me know if that anybody watching this. Let me know. Like, do you want to see Pogs? Do you want to see cups? Is there any kind of cool merch that I could do? Because I've talked to other indie creators who are doing
Mhm.
like detailed action figures, and they're always really expensive.
Yeah.
Uh, like I did talk to one guy a few years back, and he was like, "Oh yeah, it'll be 1,000 to do that." Like,
Yikes.
it's a little out of my it's a little out of my budget.
Sure.
Oh, but like because that would be like for like a McFarlane styled
Oh, definitely.
figure and stuff like that,
Yeah.
nicely molded,
Yeah.
articulated. It's like yeah, I can't really do that.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I like Migos more than McFarlane
Sure.
era stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm I kind of want to do fun stuff
Yeah.
as merch.
That's a good idea. Scott Wilkie, we have another Pog fan. I don't know if Scott's going to listen to this, but Scott's a big proponent of Pogs and he doesn't think anyone wants them. So we
Oh,
definitely want Pogs. Let's do Pogs.
we could maybe, maybe disprove that. Maybe we
I
can
I
get
think
something
so.
going. I've
I
been
think so.
doing trading cards. Uh,
That's a good one.
I love the trading cards.
Yeah.
I got a new one for this new Kickstarter featuring Nonstop, and I'm a
Nice.
sucker for the '90s Marvel Tops
Me too.
cards. Good
Me too.
Lord, those were so cool. And
Those were the good days.
I've been doing them inspired of that. So
Nice.
that's been fun.
Very cool. All right. So for those out there that haven't heard of the Red Knight before, those who don't know about the Red Knight, why don't we take a minute now to talk about him?
Yeah. Let's see. Red Knight is he's the lead character of this superhero universe I'm kind of building, and here's issue 8 right here, and he's a young guy named Todd McClane who's grown up in a superhero universe, very similar to the Marvel DC, it's your basic superhero universe, and it's
Sure.
had history. It's been around for generations, and he loves it, and he's a big fan of it, and would love to be one. Um, Something terrible happens to him, and gives him super strength. So he decides to make uh, lemonade out of lemons and decides to use this in his plan to be a superhero. He has super strength and very cheap gadgets. Like Batman on no budget whatsoever. He has he has his uncle, he kit bashes weapons and gadgets together for him. But a lot of his stuff is like, I want his stuff to kind of come across as like, really handmade and kit bashed and, not too slick looking. Um, and unfortunately, you have to have a license in order to be a hero. And you got two choices: either join the government and they send you on missions wherever, or have $100,000 ready to pay annually. And neither of those are good options for him. Um, so he's an outlaw and he is wanted by the law. And this police detective, Martha Brown, was going to arrest him until she sees him in action. And he's making the right choices. He's showing good instincts. Like he's not some guy raging and about revenge and like doing like he's not fighting for the sake of fighting. And she decides to secretly work with him and train him how to fight crime. Because he doesn't really know anything. He's just a guy with powers in a cool suit. Um, and he'll help her on her cases, and that's that's where we start the series. We're doing the Kickstarter right now for issue 9. So that's where we are right now.
Very cool. So yes, we're at issue 9. Hero today, gone tomorrow. I kind of use it as a little bit of a pun in the intro. I had to do that.
Of course, please.
I try to alter every intro to kind of relate somehow to the interview. Um, But what I think is cool about Red Knight is he just kind of like an everyman, and like kind of like you said, he's very similar to Batman, almost like a Walmart brand Batman, where it's like it's not the super expensive stuff, but it's still kind of the same thing. You get the
Yeah.
same idea from it, and he's a very cool guy. So, I know we had talked a little bit earlier about how, the original idea for him came from, like a what if, a younger superhero met their idol Spider-Man. So, as you developed this character, did you kind of pull inspirations from anywhere? From other existing characters? Did you kind of just like kit bash a couple different things together to come up with him? Like what how do we go about this?
Yeah, like I said, there was he kind of came out of a Spider-Man like fan fiction I was writing.
Hmm.
And it was essentially, I didn't really realize this. It's essentially like kind of like me meeting a Spider-Man.
Sure.
And um when I decided to like pull him out, I went with this idea of him very quickly into this idea of not being able to like get into the world of superheroes easy and running into his heroes and them not respecting him or things being darker and more complicated than he anticipated. And this whole thing getting into being a superhero was more difficult. And over time, I actually did not intend on this becoming a metaphor of what it's like to be an artist, to get into like a field you want to do, like being a comic book
Sure.
writer or a novelist or a rock star or whatever, or not even like art, just anything you want to be a part of.
Yeah.
And it's seemingly more difficult than you thought it was. So I decided to just lean into that. And I also leaned into like this universe of heroes that he's grown up with. And over time, they've become either jaded or they're just going through the motions. And the world, like this world of I have these stories that these characters have been through before the series starts, and it's kind of worn them down and changed them. And here comes Red Knight, really excited and really inspired by them in their younger days. And he is still kind of trying to live up to the ideals that they had that they no longer live by. And that's something I decided to kind of like start billing him as the last optimistic man in a cynical world. And keep in mind, I was creating Red Knight during the extreme '90s era. And I didn't know if that was ever going to end. And matter of fact, it kind of still hasn't really. That kind of like cynicism and anger has kind of like in a negative to a negative extent has stuck within superheroes. That some people think that any superheroes that do anything um, for altruistic reasons are faulty, and the realistic ones are the ones that are always angry and terrible, and I don't really agree with that. I think
Sure.
uh, I like those, don't get me wrong, but
Yeah.
it's not the whole thing.
Right.
And I do one of the things I wanted to do with Red Knight was kind of make him look like a tough Batman, Midnighter, Daredevil badass, but
Yeah.
he's more of a Spider-Man. He's more of a Steven Universe kind of guy under the
Yeah.
suit. Um,
He looks a lot
and
tougher than he really is, even though he's very tough.
he is very
He
tough.
just puts on the
I would
persona.
I would put him in the Luke Cage Spider-Man
Yeah. I agree with that.
string. Uh,
Yeah.
and he's still kind of figuring it out. Matter of fact, he didn't know he was bulletproof until he got shot.
Yeah.
So that's kind of guy he is, and he gets up and goes, "Oh, yeah, I guess I'm okay."
And that's kind of one of the things that really appealed to me about him is, like you mentioned, he's a very positive guy, which is something you don't see a lot, like we've talked about, where, you've got all these heroes where you hear that, for years they had tried to be, the beacon of hope, the beacon of light, and this this overarching positive force. And
Yeah.
over time, all of the bad and negative experience have kind of worn them down, and they're kind of just like they're much different. They've kind of forgotten, why they even became a superhero in the first place. And granted, Red Knight's still a relatively newer superhero, and he has powers. He doesn't really have control over them or really kind of fully understand how they work. But he
Hmm.
has decided that I have powers. I don't know what they are. I can't figure them out, but I have an obligation to help people because
Yes.
I can. And he's that guy that's still trying to hey, let's be positive. And I think that's neat to be different. Like you said, in a world full of negativity and dark and brooding, which again I'm also a fan of, but there's also room for like, hey, not everything has to be dark and brooding. Sometimes you can have that positive beacon in there that like, hey, we really can do this. We can do things the right way.
Exactly. And that that uh, that's one of the things I like about his relationship with Martha is
Yeah.
Martha is very smart and understands how to like negotiate within the superhero communities,
Mhm.
how to deal with crime. She is a strategist. She is a planner. She knows how to do all the things he doesn't know how to do yet.
Yeah.
And at the same time, she is someone who has kind of been spoiled and ruined by this world. And I haven't really touched on this too much, but one of the things I'd like to kind of do is in their mentor student relationship, while she's teaching him the ropes as far as to make himself a better hero, uh, he's kind of accidentally doing that in reverse for her. Like
Yeah.
she
Kind of
is
like
kind of
they're teaching
finding,
each other.
yeah, she's kind of finding her hope back.
Yeah.
And without even realizing it. And I'm not sure when I'm going to kind of like flip that switch, but uh, for them to kind of see, I do have a kind of an idea when it's going to happen though. But I like that kind of relationship between. It's funny we were talking about teachers earlier,
Yeah.
and we started this conversation with that, but that's kind of a lot in their relationship.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I've noticed too is that, she's trying to teach him how to, follow within the guidelines of the law and, make sure he sticks to, what's right. But she's kind of also teaching him like, hey, the world has may gotten you down, all the
Yeah,
years of all the negativity, but there's always still, that positivity. There's always a silver lining. I always try to tell my kids, like, no matter how crappy your day is, there's always going to be a silver lining somewhere. It might be real hard to find it, but it's definitely going to be there. So
that's
that's
right.
very cool.
And yeah, Martha's one of my favorite characters, and I'm extremely proud of her because she's the first character I ever created that evolved from my original idea. Now,
Sure.
like Todd is, boy, he's like 95% the same guy I created in 1990.
Nice.
But Martha, uh, kind of like I like the idea of cops secretly working with superheroes. I always think that's a cool dynamic. Um, and I was very influenced by the Greatest American Hero series, actually, with Agent Bill Maxwell kind of calling the shots
Yeah.
between him and Ralph, and that was a big influence on me. It's like, oh, it's Commissioner Gordon's calling the shots, not Batman.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a cool idea, and that kind of went evolved. And when I created Martha, Martha was a little bit uh was a she wasn't as talented as she is. She was a little more uh, shady in her motivations. And as I was sort of building the stories, I needed her to develop. And I just opened myself up to, okay, let's not confine this character. Let's see what she can do.
Sure.
And I am really proud of this character, and she has actually taught me in a way to how I can create characters, and how to let a character grow and develop. Uh, so I guess she's also trained me as well.
There you go.
Uh, hadn't thought of it that way until literally just now.
Nice. Very cool. Yeah, it's kind of fun, when you're writing out a character and you have you go into it with a certain direction that you want them to go, and then sometimes during the writing process, they kind of take you in a totally different direction, and you try and fight it and say, no, it has to go this way, but once you kind of just give up the reins and kind of let it go where it needs to go. I mean, it's kind of weird to
Exactly.
think about giving up the reins because you're the one that's, holding the reins, right? But once you kind of just let them go the way that, organically they need to go while you're writing it, sometimes it can be surprising the way they turn out.
I got to tell you, as a writer, and I think this can probably extend to all types of artists, but specifically
Sure.
writing.
Sure.
Um, I feel like it's working most when I almost don't feel like I'm in control of it. Like
Yeah.
I almost feel like I'm kind of just witnessing it for the first time just for everyone else, and
Yeah.
I'm just translating it.
Sure.
That's when I really know a story or a character is really working. When kind of, I'm kind of not, forcing things. I'm kind of not like, being too restrictive on what's going on. Like there's a natural unfolding of what I've created. Um, that's a great feeling, and that's
Absolutely.
usually I feel like some of my best stories have come out of that kind of vibe.
That's cool. And I think that's a really cool way to kind of develop a story or develop a character or whatever, because you've got all these people where they mention they have ideas and you're like, well, can I read some of it? Oh, I just have it, percolating up in the old mill,
Yeah,
and it's like they keep it there because they like it's not ready yet. I got to keep working on it, reworking it. But it's like, sure, that's good, but for me and for a lot of other writers I've talked to, the real progress on an idea happens when you actually start working on it. I mean,
mhm.
sure, you can sit and kind of, put things together in your head, but really the magic happens when you actually start to like flesh it out, however you end up fleshing it out, where, you're writing it or you're drawing it or whatever, and it kind of just takes you off in a direction that, really it's hard to get there if you
Yeah.
just keep it all up in your head.
And yeah, if I've had times where I've had to stop a script because I am just like, I don't know where I'm going with this. I am
Yep.
just like trying to force it into, the situation. And
Yeah.
I've had to just like drop it and go back to square one and
Yep.
just kind of just let it go. And I am very big about plotting and outlining, and
Sure.
that is like a proper map. But you got to know, got to have that moment where you just let
Yep.
inspiration take over.
Yep.
God, what was it? Not a comic book creator, but Tori Amos would say something in interviews. I'm a big fan of hers, and she would talk about her songs as if they were people. And she would often say, she doesn't want to talk to me right now, or she has a lot to say. And that's when the song comes together.
Yeah.
And I kind of understood what she was talking about, especially
Yep.
when I was like creating. I was like, oh, yeah, it does really feel like that.
Absolutely.
And yeah, just if you have like an original idea that you're going with and it develops into something, don't fight that. Please don't fight that. Just
No.
just
No, no, no.
let it go because you might
Yeah.
be heading towards something more original. And also, I've had a lot of I've had a lot of writers like worry. I've had a lot of writers, yeah, tell me like, oh, I'm still developing it. I'm not ready yet, blah, blah, blah. But I've also had writers like really worry about their idea being too similar to some other idea.
I
And
think that's a pretty common fear, I think.
it is. And I worry about it sometimes too.
Sure.
I've killed a couple things because it's like, it's way too close.
Right.
And like the license law in Red Knight, I was very worried about that because at the same time I was starting to get Red Knight going, Marvel was doing its Civil War thing, the 50 state initiative thing. It was
Yeah.
like, crap, that feels a little like what I'm doing. But I
Yeah.
decided to just go and trust the fact that Marvel would be Marvel and I would be me. And well, sure enough, like Marvel does, like 2 years ago, 2 years later, it wasn't even a thing. Oh, and they dropped it and move on to something else where
Right.
I had like a different take on this idea. Uh, and that's the thing. Like a lot of ideas are already kind of done. Like, it's very hard to come up with a completely original idea. I mean,
Yeah,
that's almost like I don't want to say myth, but like it doesn't happen as often as people think it can,
sure.
and people beat themselves up over it, but they
Yep.
can't. Um, what makes a story or character unique is that creator. Like, yeah, okay, we have a heist story or something like that, or
Yeah.
like a guy killing people story with a knife and stuff like that. Well, you, the creator, bring you to that project. So
Yeah.
yeah, your slasher story might be completely different, uh, and you know it will work once it really has a lot of you in it.
Yeah.
Uh, same thing with heist stories and stuff like that. So that would be my advice that fear does keep a lot of people from creating.
Absolutely. Yeah, and like you said, if you try and force it, sometimes it either comes out and you don't really like it, or you think it could be done a different way, or just any other number of things. But I used to write quite a bit. I haven't written in years, for a lot of reasons. But when I
Mhm.
was writing, I would come into my story and I would have a certain direction for it. And we kind of talked about this a little bit, but I would try and force it, and it just didn't turn out the way I wanted it to. So I would, like you, go back to square one and just, all right, let's just see where this is going to take me. And, I'm sure you've done this before, and I'm sure other writers have done this, where you try to like get into the body of your character and kind of just like, right, how would, I'm sure you've been like, how would Todd, go in this scenario or whatever. And
Yeah,
you kind of feel like you kind of take that. And this sounds crazy to people who aren't writers, but will understand this, where you kind of have that character kind of just take over your body, and you start writing or typing or whatever as that person. And you're done when you're done, you have a story that may not necessarily be how you wanted to outline it, but it goes in a completely different direction, and it ends up working, and you come up with a bunch of other stuff that could branch off and fix other things. So
yeah,
like you said, sometimes you just got to kind of just sit back and as they say, let Jesus take the wheel, and let it go where it goes.
yeah. And you'll find I've had a few stories like that, and it's great to just kind of just sit back and let it happen.
Yeah.
Red Knight 5, the Dr. Sci-Fi story, that was going to be a slightly different thing, and until like halfway through it, I was like, man, this is not coming together. So I just sat back and kind of retooled it. And while I was doing that, portions of the story kind of split off, and I ended up going back and writing issue 4. Um, and what I did for the Dr. Sci-Fi story was slightly different. So I created a whole new story because think components of that story wasn't working, and
Yeah.
I I broke them apart, and well, I'm very happy with 4 and 5 now, and
Yeah.
I'm very excited. I I took a moment to not be too into my own ego, um, and just realizing that this is fiction,
Yeah.
and if it's not happening, it's not happening, and don't don't like beat yourself over
Don't
that.
force it.
Uh, so I mean, God, I love those issues now because of how I was able to just partly because I took a moment to let them breathe and be their own stories.
Yeah. Very cool. All right, so we're at issue 9. Congrats, by the way. Not a lot of indie comics make it this far, so
Yeah.
that's a super cool thing. We've got the Kickstarter live right now. This will come out a week after we record it, and so we'll still be right in the thick of the Kickstarter. So we'll make
Yep.
sure we put the link in here. We'll make sure we share it out to all the people so we can take a look at it. Like we mentioned already, you usually offer some pretty cool stuff as rewards for the Kickstarters. What do we got on deck for this one? What do you have as rewards for this one?
Okay, this time around, I decided to do the thing I said I'd never do, and that's variant covers.
Nice.
But I've been thinking about doing variant covers for a while, and there's a couple artists I've been talking to and wanting to do covers for me for the longest time. And I decided the thing about variant covers is they do them for every issue now. which I'm not a fan of. I liked it back when, back when, uh, they would happen for more special reasons. And issue nine is pretty special to me. Um, and I decided I'm going to celebrate and do a victory lap
Sure.
with this one by presenting readers with variant covers. And I got the original cover A from JC Grande, and his cover is gorgeous. Then I have cover B from Dan Noakes, who is a terrific indie creator. He does a lot of really more humorous books. And we've been talking for a while. And actually, I think funny story is I think he jokingly suggested doing a variant cover for me. And I said, yeah, sure, okay. And then months later, I hit him up and go, okay, man, I'm uh ready for a variant cover. He's like, what? Oh, okay. Like, I thought we were just talking. So yeah, he's doing cover B, and I got Bill Maws doing cover C, and all three covers are amazing. Bill Maws is very important to me as a creator because he is a indie creator from my neck of the woods, Virginia Beach. This is the city right next to Norfolk. And in the early 90s, he was doing independent comics. And as a kid who didn't think that happened, I was very excited to see what Bill was doing. Bill was
Yeah.
doing a independent like comic for a local store chain called Tower of Thunder, and then he got the job to draw this other indie book called Zen, the Intergalactic Ninja. Then he created his own character, Nera X, and spun her off of Zen. And he's been doing that ever since. And his daughter's doing really uh, awesome art too. She's just released comics on her own. And I had been a fan of Bill's since then, since the Tar Thunder days, and I kind of wanted him to do a cover for me. Like it was always like a goal of mine, and I got it this time around, and he was very excited to do it actually, and I was very happy to hear that. He had a lot of fun drawing Red Knight. It's really gorgeous, and um, so I'm going to be doing variant covers for these. I think they're all amazing. You can pick and choose whichever one you want, or you can get all three. We have a new trading card, like I mentioned earlier. This one's for Nonstop. He's the speedster character. He's one of Red Knight's friends who has gone on to become a professional superhero, where he is still an outlaw. And like his card's really cool. And I'm going to do something different actually, starting with this Kickstarter, because up until recently, the trading cards had been rewards in and of themselves. But starting with this Kickstarter, any issue of cover A, uh, or if you just order cover B, whatever. Anybody who orders a Red Knight comic will get the nonstop trading card. You don't have to specifically ask for it. You'll just get it.
Nice.
And I, I, I had it as a reward last time around, and then at the end, I was like, screw it. I just started giving everybody the card, and it's like, you know what? I like this better.
Nice.
So that's going to be happening here with that. And I am very excited. I can't wait to roll these covers out. So, and also, here's the here's the thing. The reason why I wanted to do variants with this is, like I mentioned, I like variants for kind of special issues, either milestone issues, the beginning of ending of arcs and stuff like
Yeah.
that, or anniversaries or something like that.
Hmm.
Issue nine is a long time coming for me because it's the end. First off, it's the end of this arc, the Hero Today, Gone Tomorrow arc. So that's enough. That's enough. But I also this issue was meant to come out just as Primal Paper Comics was falling apart, and I didn't get to release it. And then Jeff and I were gonna, put together Dead West, and then the deal with Short Fuse came together, and just a couple of years went by, and then I realized I was going to have to relaunch the series in color, starting with one. That meant pushing nine back even further. So this issue has been just sitting in the can for way too long,
Wow.
and it's been a long time coming. And
Awesome.
I'm very eager to get this one out. It also features a backup story explaining in more detail about the license law that's in the background of the book, also drawn by J.C. Grande. And another thing is, it didn't actually, I'll be honest, I didn't really think about this until I started putting the Kickstarter together.
Sure.
But issue 9 is the last issue of the story that started Red Knight in the first place. Because, like I mentioned, the fan comic I was putting together with him and Spider-Man getting buddy buddy and it not going well.
Yeah.
He meets. I had this idea of them having lunch at a diner in costume,
Yeah.
and this is long before Deadpool did it. But
Right.
they were having a conversation, and they just don't seem to be clicking, and that kind of stuck with me. Like meeting your hero, and it just doesn't. You don't really kind of blend as much as you
Sure.
thought.
Hmm.
Um, and over the years, I have grown up and have been, without getting into detail, very disappointed with some heroes I've had over the years, either artistically or culturally, and just seeing darker, more complex sides of them and having to kind of like deal with it and figure it out. Like I've
Right.
had, I'm sure we've all had that hero that of ours that we discover is not great, and then we have to kind of figure out if we have to reevaluate
Yeah.
what we saw in them, if what we took away from them is correct, and there's a feeling of betrayal.
Right.
So that kind of like developed into Here Today, Gone Tomorrow, where I decided to make his interactions with Captain Danger and the Union of Superheroes are a little bit more complex than the original idea of him meeting Spider-Man. Because Spider-Man, that would have been more like a comedic, awkward uh, story. This one is ramifications of him discovering like a darker truth about the people he loved and respected, and has kind of based a lot of his life goals on. And going forward, he's kind of got to start negotiating that with himself and trying to
Yeah.
figure it out. Matter of fact, the very next arc I'll be doing will lead right into that, where I'm going to spoil this right now. At the beginning of the arc, he's not sure if he wants to be a superhero anymore. He's kind of doing it, but like he's far less excited about it. And he is put in a position to be inspiring and tell people, what it is to be a great hero. And he's not sure if he has the answers anymore. And he's quickly realizing he has to relearn that and find something new within it. And that will be moving forward of him kind of like finding he will, but I mean, this spoiler alert, he will. But he will kind of like be challenged in ways that he didn't expect. He expected to be challenged in like, fist fights and explosions and cool stuff, not like really thinking about, the specific ideas that he has held close to him, and wondering if the people he idolized really did feel that way. And
Yeah.
it's going to have him, it's going to challenge him on more than just a physical level, which is also fun to write.
That's
Uh,
exciting.
so yeah, I was like, okay, you know what? Done. We're doing variant covers for this because this is a
Big
I'm putting
deal.
my
It's
flagpole
special.
down and we're having fun.
Very cool. That's awesome. So, we're 9 issues in. Like you said, we're wrapping up a big story arc. Um, what is the plan for future Red Knight? Do you have like do you have an endpoint in mind? Do you have a certain amount of issues? Are we just going to keep making issues as long as people are going to read them? What's kind of your long-term plan?
My goal has been for the longest time like 100 issues.
Okay.
Although to be honest, I don't know how realistic that is anymore. I'm getting in my 50s. It's
Sure.
taken me years to get to 9 issues, so I don't know. I want to be 100 when I get to 100. Um, so I'm going to do my best to just kind of tell the story I want with a loosey-goosey goal of 100.
Sure.
And in the immediate future, like I did mention, the next arc, I'm not gonna spoil the title for the next arc yet.
Okay.
But I'm extremely excited for the next arc. Um, I already have it written. The scripts are written. I haven't sent it to the artist yet. Issue 10 is scripted and drawn and colored. It just hasn't
Nice.
been lettered.
Okay.
Uh, that's going to be sort of a go buffer between this arc and the next arc, and will also lead into the next arc. Um, I'm really excited about that issue. That issue is drawn by Shiloh Penfield, by the way, who did issue 6.
Nice.
And she did the cover for the Ladybug book, and we're doing another project soon. So I'm very excited to see her do this. And JC Grande did the colors on it, and this was the first time to work together. And their stuff blends really beautifully.
Nice.
Uh, let's see. I am proud to say that Red Knight is got a couple things going on. Um, the trade has been available just on Manus Publishing. I actually I had my wife do a reformatting of it, and it's going to be available on Amazon and Barnes and Noble soon.
Nice.
And it's going to have that feature where you can go from panel to panel on it.
Right on.
Um, because like I was just gonna like I just asked my wife to Lindsay to just reformat it for for Amazon. She was like, yeah, okay. And then when she was doing it, it's like, oh hey, I can do this thing where I can set it to go to panel by panel. Like what? And it looks great.
Nice.
Oh, we're gonna be doing that. Oh, I have two event crossovers that Red Knight's appearing in.
Very cool.
Oh, the first one is this thing called Cosmos War. And let's see, Tony's been doing this for years, this book. And very much like me, he's been very passionate about this big project he's been doing for years. And there is this tie-in mini to his Cosmos series, Cosmos War. And he decided, I don't know how long, I haven't asked him how long it took him to do this, but he went to so many independent creators
Wow.
and said, hey, uh, do you want your character to make an appearance in this giant like war comic? And it's literally page for page of some characters.
That's cool.
And we started talking. I was like, yeah, that sounds fun. I can go for Red Knight being in there. So Red Knight does appear in this issue. Actually, I can show you right there. He shows up here,
Nice.
and he looks really good.
I agree.
And funny thing, I didn't know this because okay, here's Red Knight on this page, and right
Mhm.
on this next page, it's the Savage Dragon.
That's awesome.
I can't believe I did not know that was good. I didn't know until I picked up this issue. Like my boy is in the same book. It's Savage Dragon.
That's cool.
Oh, so that's kind of neat. I like that. That I the Kickstarter just started sending out issues. I don't know when. I can't say for certain when it'll be available for general audiences,
Sure.
but that's coming soon. I'm also in a event book called Earthfall: The Reckoning, and that's from Page Alfred, and it's spinning out of his book called Chess. And there are apparently these aliens that have been threatening to attack for a couple of issues in his series, and
Yeah.
they're doing it, and they're going all over the world, attacking in like these portals, and it's just shooting up everywhere. And he decided to do it as an event book, and it's an anthology book,
That's
not like a
cool.
mini series. It's an
Yeah.
anthology,
That's
and it's
cool.
broken up by I think it's 7 chapters of 7 independent creators. And the what we were told was, okay, these aliens are attacking. What does your character do? And and we don't have to adhere to any story. We could just basically like an old school like tie-in book. Like, oh, hey, things were going great. Now we have aliens attacking for some reason. Let's deal with that. And
Nice.
so I wrote a 7 page Red Knight and Martha story drawn by JC Grande, and it's great. And we put that together spur of the moment, by the way. Like, I wasn't sure if we were going to do it. Paige asked me on a Sunday, and then Monday I had a story. Um,
Wow.
and I like immediately, by the end of that week, I had a script, um, and I sent it the next couple days later over to JC, and he had the art within weeks. So I mean, we got it going on.
Nice.
Oh, and we were one of the first to turn it in. I'm proud to say. I think we were like third or fourth to
Nice.
turn it our story. You can ask Paige like how soon we were got in there, but
Sure.
that Kickstarter pre-launch page is up. It's not ready to go live just yet. I don't have a date on that one yet, but the
Okay.
pre-launch page is up and running. And I don't know how much that book is going to be, but it's like I think it's like I think it's 10, oh excuse me, 10 creators with I think it's going to be around a 70-page book.
Oh, wow.
Oh, so yeah, I know. I'm pretty excited. I'm really happy with the Red Knight story I wrote in it. Like I uh, I essentially decided to use this as a chance to show non-readers what Red Knight's about. And I kind of did
Nice.
my best to encapsulate the series within 7 pages. And it taught me, man, I had to like know when to cut because it wasn't a 22-page story, so I had to like know what story I was telling. So,
Yeah.
and I got a lot done in 7 pages, so I'm pretty excited for it. And JC's art is just it's good.
That's awesome. Very
So
cool.
that's what I have immediately coming up, and then after that, hopefully at the end of the year or at the beginning of next year, we'll have Red Knight 10.
Very cool. And, speaking of other stuff you have coming up, I saw that, not only do you write comics, you write novels as well. And I saw that Union of Superheroes is coming soon.
Yes. I am doing a pulp fantasy novel about the Union of Superheroes, and this book will be a prequel to Red Knight.
Nice.
Actually, it takes place, I think, if I'm not correct, it's 17 years before Red Knight 1.
Okay.
And it's an event I've been kind of like working stories off of,
Hmm.
and it's something that happened in the Red Knight universe that greatly affected, the world. And I was like, well, I gotta tell that story. I can't just keep referencing it.
Sure.
Oh, and I can't. I'm unfortunately a small mom and pop operation, so I can't really. I don't know. I can't really afford to do a whole seven. This is it would probably be a 7 to 9 issue miniseries if I did it because it's a pretty big story.
Sure.
Uh, so I decided I'll do it as a pulp fantasy, and it's called Union of Superheroes: The Cosmic Crown, and I'm very excited. It's gonna let's see. It's about the. It's not Earth's first encounter with alien life in this universe, but it's the first time alien life tried to colonize
Okay.
Earth in much of the ways we have colonized other countries in history,
Sure.
and our heroes have to travel to the planet, the alien planet themselves, to free many people that have been taken. And they're completely on the back foot throughout this, and I'm very excited. And you get to see a whole different planet. There are different planets in the Red Knight universe, but I'm focused mostly on Norfolk, Virginia. So this would be the chance to see a whole other universe outside of the Red Knight. And it's going to take a while to do this novel. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to serialize this novel chapter by chapter on the Substack that I have, the Manus Publishing Substack, and I am going to start doing it in July, where you can read for free, by the way. I'm not going to charge. There's a pay tier on Substack. This is going to be for free. You can join and just read, and I'm going to leave it open for comments. So you can like reflect on what I'm writing, if it's working, if it's not working. And I'm going to be doing this a chapter a month. Maybe I'll have a couple breaks, but I'll be doing it a chapter a month.
Sure.
until the book is done, and then we'll get like a proper print release. Uh,
Nice.
and yeah, this is going to be a big deal in the Red Knight universe because it really does affect like the political, the superhero community, and the magic system within the Red Knight world. So, oh boy, and there's also a couple of characters I've only been referencing in this series that are going to be lead characters in the book. Like White Shark's daughter is a lead character in this.
Oh wow.
And Princess Victory have only really started talking about her in the Red Knight comic. She's a lead character in this. So okay, I'm really ready to write this thing.
That's awesome. Very, very cool. All right, so we've got the Kickstarter going live right now. Like I said before, we'll share out the link so everyone can take a look at it. We'll get some eyes on it. It's a great book. If you've never checked it out before, definitely give it a shot. It's very, very, very good. Now, with this, with future Red Knight, with all the future stuff you're working on, why don't we take a minute to have people or tell people where they can go to find you to keep up with to date with stuff you're working on.
I appreciate that. Thanks, man.
Absolutely.
Um, let's see. You can. I'm obnoxiously everywhere, but let's see. You can. I guess if you're on you watching this on YouTube, I have a channel, The Real Manos, where I do review comics, animation, movies, and stuff. I do also talk about my own work. Also, you can follow Red Knight on Facebook if you're on Facebook. Also, there's a Manos Publishing Instagram and like I have an Instagram, but I don't know, it's me personal stuff and my writing and commentary stuff. So if you want to avoid that crap, go to the Manus Publishing one. And of course, like I just talked about the Substack. The Substack has my stories and reviews. There is a paid tier, but like I said, the Cosmic Crown story is going to be free tier. So you can, if you if you hit me up on Substack, you can read and follow the novel as I create it.
Very cool. Now, one last thing I want to ask before we get out of here. If you were to give a piece of advice to your younger self, so if you now, Justin, could go back and give young Justin a piece of advice, what advice would you share?
Oh my God.
That's a tough one.
Uh, yeah, outside of avoiding specific people, let's see. Oh, I would probably, oh, I would probably say it's going to be all right.
That's a good
Just
one.
keep going forward.
That's a good one. It's kind of hard because a lot of us want to I would give a lot, and I know a lot of people would to go back and tell my younger self stuff that I if young Chris knew what this Chris knows, things would be a lot different.
It would, yes.
Yeah,
I have I like to I'm a lot of the same person I was 30 years ago. I am just a bit
sure,
more wiser.
sure,
I have dropped a lot of this need to be like a cool edge lord. I think that goes nowhere.
sure.
Uh, and I've done my best to be more kind and empathetic. And it's only led me to be like a better creator and a better person. Uh,
There you go.
so yeah.
Very cool. All right, well, I want to take a couple minutes here to thank Polygon Horizon. Their song Pizza Force is the song I use for the show. It's a great song, and go check them out on Bandcamp, SoundCloud, and anywhere else you can find music because they're great. So go give them some love. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok as Fueled by Weird. You can also find me at fueledbyweird@gmail.com. Hit me up. We can chat, get on the show, whatever you want to do. You can find this show on YouTube, Spotify, and anywhere you get your podcasts. So you can find me all over the place. I've also have a link tree. Go check there. You can see all the other places I am. If there's something I forgot to mention, which I probably did. Um, Go check out my dude Hassel Hutchison. He has a channel, The Nerdy Man Room Show, where he also hosts The Nerdy Man Room Show, along with Hassel's Review, where he reviews lots of toys and does unboxings and stuff. Also does Card Subject to Change. It's a what if for pro wrestling. So if you like pro wrestling, go check out Card Subject to Change. Also, check out my dude, Big Rob. He hosts Big Rob's House of Entertainment and No Chinese Food. That dude travels all over the place, finds all the good deals on toys and stuff, does some reviews as well. So go check him out. The three of us, along with our friend Monster, make up the Stay Weird Network. We're a podcast network dedicated to bringing some awesome back to the internet. Check us out on Instagram and YouTube at Stay Weird Network and send us an email at stayweirdnetwork@gmail.com. If you like the show, please leave a review and tell your friends because word of mouth is my friend. And remember, kids, it's only weird if you make it weird. So make it real weird. Justin, thanks so much for joining me tonight, sir. I appreciate your time.
Thank you. It's great to finally chat with you. This is terrific. Thank you.
I agree. Thank you so much.